as many dumb things as we can. The live group, Fed Haters Club, join gmail.com. They're going to vote for which one of those things are the dumbest. We have 12 options. We're going to be making fun of Kamala, Obama, Ketanji Brown Jackson, Ayanna Presley. Let me see if I can find someone that's white. Hold on. First one goes to Kamala Harris. I could read it for you, but I'd rather have her say it out loud because I kind of miss listening to her.
Does she cackle afterwards?
I know we all do. I'm not sure if she cackles. Let's listen.
That is a decent resume, but go ahead.
But there, well, some people have actually said I was the most qualified candidate ever to run for president.
I like the some people say. Very nice, but go ahead.
I'm just speaking fact.
Yeah.
Some people have said that Kamala Harris was the most qualified candidate,
like her mom,
to ever run. Yeah. And other people have said that.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure some people on the left have said things like that. Qualified ideas like this next one about why Gen Z is not having kids. Let's listen to her talk about that.
They're experiencing what they've coined climate anxiety, which is their fear that because of changing and extreme weather, that the future of their lives is very much at stake. My goddaughter, who's a junior in college right now, was crying to me just 2 days ago, worried about what is the world going to be for me, Auntie, she said, when I want to have kids. Should I even be thinking about having children? That's on top of unaffordable, not for her, but for so many in that generation. They don't aspire to own a home. They don't believe it's within their reach.
At least she thought to say that there, At least she got that last part in at the end. I do think there's a lot of people whose brains have been poisoned by all of the climate nonsense that actually think that the world's about to end. And all you got to do is go back through the past history of all the predictions that people have made. It's not to say that none of them will ever come true ever, eventually. Like if I sit here every day and I'm like, the market's going to crash, and eventually, one of those days I'm going to be right. It's going to happen eventually. Yep. I said yesterday I was taking some off the table because I was a little bit worried.
That's what you were doing.
What I'm doing, yeah. Doesn't mean it's not going to push up higher real quick before that happens or anything, but eventually I'm going to be right about that. And it might come back down to where I own it right now. And so anyhow, the fact that so many people are so worried about climate change and wouldn't want to have kids, like that's actually a sad and disgusting reason, in my opinion. Like
it's basically an arbitrary fear that people have generated.
Created by politicians who want to raise taxes and control businesses and corporations and all of your daily actions.
And it's to help their buddies.
Yeah.
So if I can impose environmental protection based on some climate fear change law that we've drummed up out of thin air, like the Steele dossier, drum up this Fugazi, and then I can implement regulations which act as law on, let's say, a mining company, so they can't mine for, rare earth minerals anymore. But, my buddies at Panera, they don't have to charge, they can still pay people minimum wage. See how that works out?
I always forget about the Panera thing. I love how you always remember the Panera part of the California fast food.
I love how they're carved. It's just like a blatant
It is
example.
ridiculous. I just forget about it all the time. They're like, they just picked a restaurant. Like you're friends with the person who owns the restaurant,
Yeah, it just happens to be. I don't know how the press doesn't grill Gavin Newsom harder on something like that. It's like, well, you just happen to be buddies with this guy? Like, what's so special about bread making?
Oh, they're not going to. They want him to be president in 2028. They're not going to do that.
Anyway, I say all that to say that's why these things exist. It's because it's to enrich their friends who are enriching them at the expense of the other side who is enriching their friends because they're being enriched. It's just like there's two loops, and a lot of it overlaps.
Are you talking about a Venn diagram? Because Kamala Harris loves those.
Yes.
Okay. I got you.
She could probably explain it better than I can because she's more qualified.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And in fact, when I look on ChatGPT, Venn diagram experts, it's just her picture that pops up. And now it gave her an extra tooth, but that's just AI.
Fact check true. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's fine. Okay, let's. That's number one. I just thought that we all deserve something, light to make fun of, and to make fun of Kamala Harris. We haven't done that in a long time. And
I wish her cackle was in there, though.
I know. She's coming back out right now. Some people say that she's the most qualified person, which means I think some people are probably also telling her she needs to run for president again.
Oh, God.
I mean, I hope she does. It's going to make for great content. It's going to make for an awkward Democratic primary when other people have to stand up there and explain why she's not the person for the job, when she was like the only answer to save democracy beforehand and we didn't even need to have a primary, So I think that's going to make for great podcasting.
Great TV, great podcasting.
And if we're able to keep some sponsors long enough, we'll be here to talk about it at that time. Dumb bleep number 2, Barack Obama. We haven't made fun of Obama.
This is 2 black people in a row.
That part is unrelated. And to be fair, they're both only half black, so I don't know how relevant that is. But whatever, I say it's relevant right now, so that's fine. Obama is worried.
I'm not counting or anything. I'm just noticing. Like,
I see.
This is 2 black people in a row.
Yeah.
Who's number 3?
I don't think it's I'm not sure. I'm not sure, actually. I won't know until we click on it.
What are you trying to say about dumb bleep of the week?
These happen. It's the Fed Haters Club. They're the ones who threw in so many of these submissions. It's not me. Yeah. It's the Fed Haters Club.
Subvert responsibility. I see. Okay. I'm not racist. It's the other people.
Barack Obama is concerned about the rise of tyranny and authoritarianism and
White supremacy.
Presidents going after their political opponents and all sorts of stuff. He does a good job. Like, I don't know if he ever does, but he doesn't name drop.
Is this because John
Trump.
Bolton has been indicted?
No, this is older than that.
Okay.
We can talk about the Bolton thing, next week. The Bolton thing is still frustrating to me for the same reason that who was the other guy that got indicted that we talked about? Now I can't remember. Was it John Brennan? Did Brennan get indicted? I can't remember Comey. Comey got indicted. That's who it was. For the same reason as I was frustrated about that. Like, they never get indicted for the thing that people were upset about. Like, all the people who are wanting scalps, not literally, but they're wanting people to be held accountable. And there's things that people did.
Shouldn't we hold Comey accountable for 9/11?
Sure. Yeah, we could do that.
That would be a legit.
If you want to, yeah, we could do that.
That would be like a legit reason.
But that's not what people are upset about, and they're not upset that Comey kind of lied to Congress one time. They weren't upset that John Bolton maybe definitely sent some classified information back and forth on his AOL email. Now that's enough to put someone in jail over right there.
Yeah.
Who's still using AOL? Honestly, that's insane. But that's not what people are mad about. It could have been
33,000 classified emails. This was just 10.
I don't know how many there were specifically, but the problem is when you don't hold people accountable for the things that people are upset about and the things that they want them held accountable for, you never change anything because you never send a message to the next administration that you shouldn't do this thing. Like, you shouldn't try and frame a political candidate for treason, like that kind of thing. It's always like, oh, well, I bet you lied to Congress one time, and so we're going to go after you and get you. But none of the big things ever get taken care of, and so they can just keep happening all the time. That's always frustrating to me. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess it's fine. You're finding a way to get... It's like I used to get pulled over all the time because I had a car that looked like I raced it all the time. And the guy told me, the cop told me, he was like, yeah, they're going to pull you over for everything. You roll through a stop sign, you go 5 miles an hour over the limit, something like that. They're going to pull you over and give you a ticket because they assume you're street racing all the time. They just can't get you for that because they don't see you doing that. But they're going to give you every other little ticky-tack thing. that they possibly can. And that's kind of what I feel like is happening in this case.
I remember when we put that airplane wing on your car. Those were the days.
God. Don't do it. Don't do it. That was back in the old days of eBay when you would just send someone a money order and hope that something arrived later.
And usually it did.
I got taken a few times.
Yeah.
I got taken. Okay, anyhow, dumb bleep number 2 is
also
Obama.
back in the day when zip ties were, a proper use of mechanical engineering for vehicles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And duct tape.
Michael Scarn says, wait, airplane wing on his car. I was big into Fast and Furious. Okay, that came out at a young, impressionable age for me. Okay, so
Nate was Paul Walker.
with a Ford Mustang had like an aluminum like Temu racing wing on the back of my car, and it was so ridiculous.
Never raced in front of the cops.
No, and I never raced in front of the cops. Never. Yeah. So anyhow, okay, that leads us into Obama for dumb bleep number 2. Obviously, I'm sure you guys caught the transition. So here we go.
Like many of you, I've become increasingly concerned about the rising wave of authoritarianism sweeping the globe. We're seeing politicians target civil society, undermine freedom of the press, weaponize the justice system. And no one is being spared. Even countries that thought they were immune from wholesale assaults on democracy now understand we're all part of this struggle. That's an enormous challenge.
Screw this guy, man.
Touching.
Yeah, so touching.
Really good music underneath that.
Oh, I felt inspired.
Almost couldn't hear him.
I felt inspired during that. Yeah, as some people in the chat are saying right now, and the reason I started off with screw this guy, and it's going to lead us into this No Kings protest thing that's happening over the weekend, is they're always going to do all of the authoritarian, tyrannical crap and then come back and complain about other people that are doing it afterwards. And you can't let them get away with this. Like, Obama was no angel when it came to protecting democracy or not weaponizing the justice system.
Well, I read he had no scandals, Nate.
No, all he wore was that tan suit or whatever.
Yeah, I thought he was scandalous, not scandalous, scandalous.
I mean, this is a guy who was bombing 7 different countries, like right after getting the Nobel Peace Prize, and that, that's pretty crazy if you ask me. It's kind of a big thing.
Like what Michael says in the Fed Haters group, this is Obama speaking. Some presidents, even drone bomb citizens without trial.
Yeah. Drone bomb.
American citizens.
American citizens.
By the way.
You can hold American citizens indefinitely.
As long as it's down in Cuba.
Charges. That's fine too. If you want to do that kind of thing. You could mandate that everyone buys a product from a company, like health insurance. You want to do that, and then set us on a path to completely unaffordable health insurance, to where what most people, I'm sorry to tell you, we're gonna have a government system eventually. It's gonna happen.
Guns and weapons to the Mexican cartel.
Yeah.
That will then be used to kill Border Patrol agents, and then we'll claim that they're domestic terrorists.
You could have your IRS targeting conservative groups specifically because they're conservative groups. Mm-hmm. You could arrest journalists and whistleblowers under the Espionage Act for telling people about crimes that you were committing. Their crime is telling people about crimes that you were committing.
Yes. Some presidents do that.
Some people do.
Who would have imagined a world?
And he is concerned about that possibility.
Yeah.
Because we're not immune from things like that.
And if this is your first time listening, everything Nate and I just mentioned was literally everything Obama did during his presidency. That we know about.
Yeah, I'd say it's not everything Obama did during his presidency.
Yeah, we also know that his administration spied on the Trump campaign. We also know that they were co-conspirators in the fake Steele dossier and Trump being a Russian plant.
They kicked off Russiagate.
I think this is why Jesus said, those without sin cast the first stone. Mm-hmm.
That's, yeah.
Obama's got a couple logs in his eyes.
Yes. And it's like, you should clean your room before you go about
trying to be president.
Trying to be the president of the world. Yeah. Is the direct quote, I think. In addition to number 2, because it's sort of, that puts me on the same rant. There's these protests, rallies going on around the country this weekend. That's fine. Whatever. The No Kings protest, last time they did it was on Trump's birthday. And I keep seeing people post about it, and they keep talking about no kings, no authoritarianism, and all this kind of stuff. And I just, these are people that were totally fine with you, like, getting arrested for, like, surfing at the beach during COVID, you know, or like going to a park, trying to go to a skate park or something like that. You know, they're totally fine with kings. That is the point. They are completely fine with kings or queens, whichever one, whatever you want to call it. It's just not their king or queen. And by the way, that sort of goes for both sides most of the time. But when they're doing it right now, I'm not going to be quiet about it. They are totally fine with the government being as authoritarian as it wants to be, as they have been in the past. Totally fine with it. And then an extra dumb thing on top of this is that, once again, multiple countries apparently are participating in this whole No Kings rally / protest thing. Multiple countries, including many countries that literally have kings, actual monarchies, protesting in a No Kings rally about what the United States is doing in a system where we don't have a monarchy. Countries that actually have a monarchy or an emperor,
like the UK, Denmark, I believe, Belgium.
Don't worry,
Sweden,
I got a list.
Norway.
Let's see here: Spain, Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, Belgium, Denmark, UK, Canada, who's, whatever, affiliated, and Japan, who doesn't call theirs king, they call them emperor. But yeah, still same thing. And so the idea, imagine like how your brain has to function to actually do a No Kings protest over what like a democratically elected person in one country is doing, when you actually live in a country that literally has a king.
I can't.
How does that work?
I don't. If I don't laugh, I'll cry. Maybe I'll laugh. I don't know.
And that goes to tell you that
This is the 2 + 2 = 5 narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 2 + 2 = fish or whatever. Like it makes no sense at all. Okay. So that's number 2. Holy crap. We got to move on. I think everyone understands the dumb, and just so you know, that brain computing power that allows people in a country with a king to protest at a No Kings rally about a country who has democratically elected president, term limited president. That's about the brain processing power that goes along with everything else that they say too. Like that's it.
It's the same people. Thank
That's
God. Number 3 here, we have a white person.
So this one I just called Lefties on TV because it's just a couple clips that I thought were dumb enough to play on the show. One clip of Bradley Whitford. Yeah, that's a white name if you ever heard of one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if the guy was born black. They gave him that name. He turned white immediately. It's a white name. And then the other one is Don Lemon. But we've got, let's play these 2 clips. I just thought they were dumb enough to play and make fun of afterwards. So I'll start.
It is very interesting, during these times, doing a political show.
Yeah.
And what both of those shows do, it's very upsetting to me now. They celebrate public service.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, public servants are under attack.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's been politicized in a way that is...
Just hold on. I have to point out that I hate it when they call them public servants. Public servants are why? You know what? If you want to go out and serve the public right now, you can. You know what the problem is? You want a paycheck. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. So are you really a public servant?
You want that stock trade.
What does this mean? You know? Like if you work at any other job, are you not a public servant? What? No. I don't understand. Like you're providing food to people, you go through a drive-thru. Here you go. I just gave you this food. You paid me for it. I am a public servant.
Well, Nate, these people, though, they take an oath. And they adhere to their constituents and uphold the Constitution.
Yeah, they take an oath to only do harm
when it's convenient.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Here's the rest of the clip.
Yes. Unprecedented. Correct. I am living in a world where we have internment camps.
Yes.
Where in my community, people are jumping out of vans and people going through a legal asylum process are being taken away without charges. And the thing that's very upsetting to me right now, and we're giving these internment camps funny names.
Yeah.
Like there's some fun
alligator
to be had in the inhumanity of it all. It's a very strange time for me.
It's a disgrace, really.
It's a disgrace.
Yeah.
Funny names like Alligator, Alcatraz.
Pretty funny name.
Guantanamo.
Yeah. It's
it's lots of funny names going around for these internment camps.
I'm not sure internment camps.
Gizmo
fits very well. Here's it. We just played a clip from Obama, and so maybe we can bring Obama into this also. When you go around and you arrest people that are here illegally, you put them in a temporary holding facility until they are deported to whatever their country is. And you can call that an internment camp if you want to do that. It just reminds me of the whole kids in cages thing. Remember that the first time in Trump's term? And the most popular kids in cages photo that was going around was actually a photo that was taken during Obama's administration because Obama built the kids in cages, like Lenin built the gulags. Obama built the cages. No one cares about that, In fact, Obama deported still at this time more people than Trump. Now, Obama had 8 years. Trump has had 4 and almost 5 so far. I think this year, Trump is on pace to be deporting more people per day than Obama's average was over his term, but he deported over 3 million people. You really hardly heard about it. The reason you hardly heard about it, by the way, is because the news vans weren't interested in just following him around everywhere and filming it. They're just like, okay, Obama's doing this thing. Like that. That's what it was. They're like, we like Obama. Obama's doing this thing. No one cares.
It was on page 27 of the New York Times that no one got to.
Yeah, they only had 26 pages. Yeah. And so like no one cared about it. But I think this is the first year that Trump has outpaced the daily number of what Obama had. And it's only by like 50 people per day that he's outpacing Obama by. And guess what? Those people went to a temporary holding facility of some kind before they were deported somewhere. They can call them internment camps. There were kids in cages at that time. And no one cared because no one cares. They've decided to care about this because it's something that Trump is doing, but they don't actually care. If they did care, they would have talked about it anytime. I mean, even Biden deported people, kind of, a little bit. The numbers were down quite a lot. But yeah, even
for every one he deported, he let like 100 in.
Yes.
So
yes, so the net daily gain under Biden for sure. Okay, so that's one of lefties on TV. And then here, I'm just going to I think is this Wajahat Ali? I'm pretty sure that's who it is. We've talked about some of his, that's who this is. I'll just let him rant. We'll just think about how dumb it is during this time.
This, folks, news at 11. The racists are going to racist on Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day. Charlie Kirk was a racist. He was a bigot. The young Republican leaders are behaving just like their martyr and king, Charlie Kirk, who said that the Civil Rights Act was a mistake, who said that Martin Luther King was a horrible person, who said that black people were better off during segregation, whose one of his last posts on Twitter was, Islam is the sword used by the left to slit the throat of America. That Charlie Kirk, who got the Presidential Medal of Honor today by Donald Trump, our commander in Cankled chief, who, by the way, with his neck vagina, if you saw on the Time magazine cover, his so-called ceasefire just blew up. This pathetic racist piece of shit is the model of king and daddy of these young Republicans. And I don't know about you, Don and Jen, I've been poor before. I lost everything in my 20s. When I had economic anxiety, I never, not even once, in private or in public, said, I love Hitler. I don't know about y'all. When I had economic anxiety, I didn't feel the sudden urge to all of a sudden start promoting anti-Semitic conspiracies and throwing my enemies in the gas chambers and using the N-word and calling gay people the F-word. That is what these people, these young leaders did repeatedly, not just once, Jen and Don, repeatedly. And they laughed at each other and they applauded each other. This is who they are. This is racism. White supremacy is the enduring sin of America. White supremacy and greed, racism and capitalism. And until it is tackled, until it is confronted, until it is purged, we will see the manifestation of white supremacy and greed in the form of Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Charlie Kirk, and these young leaders. And may I just say, maybe these young white conservative men need mental health. And if you are the master race and claim that you're the master race, work out. Have you seen some of the photos of these people? Work out and also wash your ass. Sorry.
I don't know what he said.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot of things in there.
There's a lot of just stuff and things.
Many of them dumb. Just to clarify a few things in there. Actually, in that chat, they weren't calling gay people faggots. They were calling their friends fags, which is like totally normal thing to do. You would never call a gay person the F word. You know, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing. The other thing, when he's talking about Charlie Kirk and being racist and all that, and then they go down this list of things that have been disproven many times, really. But like, oh, he said the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. The next question is like, why did he say the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Well, the specific thing he said, I don't even believe it was on like the libertarian grounds of like why the Civil Rights Act might be like unconstitutional or whatever, but it was more so like the wording in the Civil Rights Act opened things up for all the DEI, affirmative action, racist hiring standards that we ended up with today, stuff in colleges and businesses, all this kind of stuff.
Even the trans stuff.
Yeah, all the gender identity, all that stuff.
All kinds of crazy.
And yeah, and then he said Martin Luther King was a horrible person. Why do you think was he like, oh, Martin Luther King wants white and black people to be treated justly under the law and wants a preached nonviolence and all that. And what a horrible person. Is that what he was saying about Martin Luther King Jr., you think?
Martin Luther King Jr. was an alcoholic who treated women terribly,
had many mistresses.
Yeah, several affairs.
Yeah.
Was not nice to them. Maybe even raped them. We don't know.
We don't know for sure about that. Yeah, so like that. So why did he say these things? You just say this one thing. Oh, he said he was a terrible person. No, he said the Civil Rights Act was a mistake, and therefore this person was a vicious racist, and that's why these Hitler-loving people in this group, which the I Love Hitler part of that chat was like the funniest joke in the entire thing. But I was listening to Ben Shapiro earlier because I wanted to hear his take on it, because Matt Walsh and Shapiro kind of have some opposing viewpoints I wanted to hear. And even he said, he was like, it's questionable whether or not this I Love Hitler thing was actually being serious. It's, kind of be taken as a joke for sure. And even he said that,
Yeah.
And
it was obviously a joke.
Yeah, it was very clearly a joke.
I laughed at it.
Yeah, I'm laughing thinking about it right now. Okay, we're only on number 3. We got to push off here to number 4. Let's make fun of Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, who on Monday said, that Monday was Columbus Day, by the way.
Oh.
For a minute, in the fog of woke, it turned into Indigenous Peoples Day.
Okay.
But it's back. America's back.
And this is Columbus.
And it's Columbus Day.
Okay.
Because this is America.
Yeah.
Okay.
Discovered by the Spanish.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. She says, Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. We are all on stolen land. And while Republicans try to whitewash American history, we acknowledge our country's role in inflicting trauma on our indigenous neighbors. We'll keep celebrating their contributions, centering Native voices in our policymaking, and building a more just, equitable future.
Like, so are you giving up your house?
No, she's not. That's the next. It'd be, it'd be really funny. Like, all Israel needs to do for all these people who are mad at Israel for like taking land from the Palestinians, when they get up, they just need to say, Shalom. We are all on stolen land. Okay. All right. Now let's get back to it. Here we go. No, it wouldn't work, would it? That's not what they want.
No.
Okay. And she doesn't want this because she's got a $1.1 million Martha's Vineyard home. So that's pretty good. She's facing calls to give up her $1.1 million Martha's Vineyard home after she declared that we're all on stolen land. We just read you what she said, so I don't have to do that again. People, of course, said, when are you going to give up your $1 million home? There used to be a tribe there in Massachusetts. By the way, the state is closely named after that tribe. Okay. Let me see here. Just see if there's any more relevant information. Purchased a 3-bedroom house. 3 bedrooms, $1 million.
Martha's Vineyard, man. Location.
Purchased that in 2023. I don't care. I guess her husband spent 10 years in prison for drug trafficking. I don't know how that's relevant to the story right here. They also have 2-unit rental property in Mattapan.
I don't know where that's
Mattapan?
at. South Boston.
Oh, South Boston. Okay. Okay, they earn money from that. That's fine. Got 4 rental properties in Massachusetts. Okay. Well, she's doing okay. I like the business venture going on here. That's great. It'd be better if she wasn't so anti-business, but whatever. So that's let's just take the opportunity.
Well, it's more of the same brain processing power you talked about.
Yeah.
These people. And it's not because she's
You're
black.
saying they lack the brain processing power?
Well, so does Bernie Sanders. He's on the same. He's in the same level.
That's true.
I would say, but they preach. It's like this. I don't know, Wizard of Oz or something. The man behind the curtain. They preach.
Never seen it.
They preach one message, yet their actions, they act out a completely different methodology or ideology than what they preach. And the only reason why they preach what they preach is to get the votes.
They just want votes.
To get the power.
They still want money. They still want power.
They don't actually believe in the things they're saying, I don't think.
You don't think?
Yeah, otherwise she wouldn't have all these rental properties.
Yeah, why?
It looks like she's making north of $500,000 to $1 million a year in rental properties so far. A profit.
Yeah.
I thought she would be someone who hates profit. Also, why is she charging rent to people that probably aren't indigenous on her rental properties that are built on indigenous land?
That is a valid question that she needs to answer.
She should be housing indigenous people for free as a way of retribution.
And illegal immigrants.
Yes.
Because they have a right to be here even though it's stolen land that they...
Exactly.
Yeah.
You do the math.
Number 5. I don't know if you guys caught this flash in the pan of what I called Swastika Gate. Swastika Gate that occurred at a congressional office. This guy was doing, I guess, a stream or a video or something like that. There's a flag in the back hanging up on a cubicle wall that is the American flag. Only the part of it in the middle has been modified to look like a
swastika.
Swastika. They call that swastiking.
Yeah.
That's what we called it in high school.
Luckily, Lies with Briar Liar Cohen brought this to our attention.
Yes, I'm glad that everyone is very upset. So he says, the important part. Breaking. Capitol Police have been called after a Republican congressional office was just caught displaying a swastika. This comes one day after group chat messages were leaked of young GOP officials saying, "I love Hitler," and calling to put Democrats in gas chambers.
Actually,
that's not true at all.
It was to put fellow Republicans.
Yeah, they wanted the delegates who didn't vote for them to be put in the gas
which
chamber.
would be Republican delegates.
God.
By the way.
Does this guy ever not lie? Even about like stupid stuff.
It says it in his name, no lie. Even though he's full of lies.
I didn't even catch that the first time. It's always lies. My God. So Capitol Police have been called. That's important. Now, I questioned this at first. First off, I was like, that's dumb. Don't record a video with the swastika in the background. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. You're about to get fired, whatever. Then I was like, can the police be called because there was a swastika? Like, do we have that rule in America? This is not Germany. Do we have that rule in America? Like, you can't have a swastika?
Right.
Well, no, we don't have that, by the way. And so we'll get into
what
more of
what
the
are
story.
the Capitol Police going to do if this is real?
Krasenstein said that MAGA Republicans are now openly being Nazis. This image is allegedly of a swastika on an American flag in MAGA Congressman Dave Taylor's office. What do you have to say for yourself, Dave Taylor? So that's one. Eric Swalwell, he's worried. A swastika modified U.S. flag hanging behind a congressional staffer in the Cannon building. This isn't some distant warning sign. It's here in the heart of our democracy.
Hitler's reborn.
Absolutely.
It is true. Trump is Hitler.
Chilling. This is like Man in the High Castle kind of stuff. I don't know if anyone watched that show on Amazon. It's a pretty good show overall. Okay, let's get into the story.
Is it even real?
Well, it is real that is a video and that there was a flag that had a swastika on it in the background.
It's not an AI flag.
It is that part is complicated. No, the images have not been altered. Okay. U.S. Capitol Police were called about an American flag altered to include a swastika and displayed inside the office of Rep. Dave Taylor. Man, it's too bad his name isn't Dan Taylor. We could have called him Lieutenant Dan. That would have been great.
Yeah.
You know? Politico obtained an image taken during
Lieutenant
a virtual...
Dave. Lieutenant Dave, you got a swastika on your flag, Lieutenant Dave.
During a virtual meeting that shows the flag pinned to what appears to be a cubicle wall behind Aaliyah, one of Taylor's staffers, alongside the flag with altered red, white, and lines. You guys see what the picture looks like here. It's unclear what role, if any, Aaliyah had in the incident. He did not immediately respond to a request. Let's see. Let me get to the... Taylor said, this is Dave Taylor, Lieutenant Dave Taylor, said he immediately directed a thorough investigation alongside the Capitol Police, adding no further comment will be provided until it has been completed. The representative, Dave Taylor, whose office it was, called the police because he believes this was an act of intentional vandalism / sabotage or whatever by some other people who put that up in his office. So just so you know, like, it wasn't someone saw that and they're like, oh. Then they called the cops and they're like, oh, we get a swastika in this cubicle. Come get it. You know? No, that's not what happened. He called the Capitol Police to investigate how the flag got there. Now, this is an interesting potential turn of events. It's impossible for me to see an image of this, I guess. I don't know how this works, and I don't know how true it is. Allegedly, this flag has magically printed into it an optical illusion.
That when it's captured by film?
When it's captured by film or photo, you can see the swastika, but it's not immediately present on the flag at first glance. Now, things like that exist. It could be like there's... I'm not even going to speculate on how exactly that could work, but sources say dozens of offices receive flags from an unidentified group So group brings these flags. Apparently,
It was the young Republican.
that would suck if they do the investigation. Like, it turns out it was the young Republicans. That's who did it. Yeah. Oh, it was TPUSA, Young Republicans. They're the ones who did this.
Yep.
No, but so allegedly right now, just so everyone knows, everyone's safe. Everything's okay. No one has died as a result of the swastika being pictured.
There's no gas chambers in the Cannon building.
No, they got to it early before the gas chambers developed.
Yeah.
So they got in there. We're going to figure out who it is that put this. Is this possible? Chat, is this true? Have you guys ever seen an optical illusion that you could only see when you took a picture or video of it, but you couldn't immediately see it?
I don't know.
Is that possible? I don't know. It's like those 3D things where you got to find the right way to put your eyes before it pops out there. I don't know.
I know optical illusions exist. So
Yeah.
I think it's not without the realm of possibility. So
Yeah.
or it's within the realm of possibility.
I feel like if it's true, then I can't get a picture of what the flag looks like normally. It's not, we don't have the technology.
Maybe you can take it at a different angle.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know?
I don't know how that works. Okay. Flag was
I like
easy to
how they
miss.
blurred it out.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
What article is this?
I think this is the Fox News one.
Really?
Yeah.
They blurred out
They
this,
blurred.
as if you can't. Oh my God. Why are people so
I'm so
sensitive?
glad you noticed that. They blurred out the swastika. Like it's a picture of a dead body or something like that. You know?
So weird.
Okay. Number 6. I don't remember what I called this. I think I called it USAID /entitlement because there's something else tied to this as well. A couple stories went around this week about some people having a tough time because of Trump's cuts and destruction of USAID. And you can sound like an a-hole when you have like what my reaction is to it and probably what Charlie's reaction is to it. But
We hate people.
it is, yeah. And to some people that comes off the wrong way, you know? No. So here's one story. I'll just give you the headline or the first description here. The tiny African nation of Lesotho had victories in its HIV fight. Then the USAID cuts came. Now, Lesotho's care system is crumbling. Clinics shut down. Workers were let go. And patients stopped treatment. Experts are sounding alarms. All right, so AIDS. Ironically, when you stop USAID, you get AIDS. I know.
Yeah.
You know, what are you going to do?
What a coincidence.
One of those things that happens, you know. And so that's that, you know, I feel bad for the people in these nations. Don't get me wrong. They live in terrible places that apparently can't survive without handouts, probably because their governments suck and make it impossible for anyone to do business or make investments and stuff like that. I don't know. I know nothing about Lesotho, and neither do you. Don't act like you do.
They probably have a prince or a king, I would imagine.
Yeah, where they're having that No Kings protest this weekend.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
another one, in addition, this person says, the USAID cuts will go down in history as the most evil thing this administration has done. And the part of the story here, Mohammed Tahir clutched, this is sad now, earmuffs. It is sad. I mean that wasn't being sarcastic. Clutched the lifeless body of his 2-year-old son and wept ever since his family's food rations stopped arriving at their internment camp in Myanmar in April. The father had watched helplessly as his once vibrant baby boy weakened, suffering from diarrhea and begging for food. Let's see. On May 21st, exactly 2 weeks after the little boy died, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio sat before Congress and declared no one has died because of his government's decision to gut its foreign aid program. Rubio also insisted no children are dying on my watch. And this guy says that's a lie because his kid died. That part, whether or not, Rubio was like lying about whether or not someone died or whatever. So the response to this is somehow it's our job. I put this response out there several places, but it's our job to work every day in some kind of productive capacity in the U.S. so the government can take a portion of our work, steal a portion of our time, and then give it to some other to Mohammed's 2-year-old son in Myanmar.
A very tiny percentage of that.
Extremely small percentage.
And the rest of what they steal is completely corrupted.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
that goes to nefarious things.
Yeah. For this. Yeah. Well, all of it. And also for this too. Like they're probably running a program here where they're collecting people's information for some kind of spying program for trying to overthrow the government to the point in the future or something like that.
No, I'm saying even like, let's say this program was giving this country, I'm just going to make up numbers here, $1 million to go towards food and all this stuff. Okay. For Myanmar. About $900,000 went into the pockets of some government people, and about $100,000 was actually spent on the food and aid.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
That's not even, that is a problem. Yes. On top of that, though, just on a moral basis, and it sounds like it's immoral,
it's all
but it's
stolen
actually moral.
money to
it's
begin
all
with.
like you can't just say that that you have a right to take my money. Mohammed's son did not somehow get a right to my money. Not even any more than anyone else in the United States got a right to my money at all. But definitely not Mohammed's son in Myanmar in an internment camp. It sounds sad. It's awful, for sure. I didn't want that kid to die. But it's not my job to take care of this. You know when it is my job to take care of this? When I'm making private donations like I do to this thing called Care International. They send these things you've probably heard of before called care packages to people. And
you were up watching TV at 3 o'clock in the morning one time.
No, a guy caught me outside of Lowe's.
Oh.
When they set up the table. And I can't say no to people,
For less than $1 a day.
And I started that. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's probably like 89 cents a day.
You get updates?
And I get emails and stuff sent to the house, and then they send you like a tax form at the end of the year, all that kind of stuff. And so that's what I do voluntarily to help people. Also, all these people are super upset about this. The tiny amount of money that's going to them, like all these rich people could get together and they could fund these programs if they wanted to do that. They want to force you to fund those programs instead. None of this stuff is our job to take care of at all. There's
lots of other programs like Care International, by the way.
And there's tons of them. There's AIDS programs out there that take care of Lesotho. If you want to do that, if you want to, if you've been worried about Lesotho for a long time, or you felt safe about Lesotho over the last many years, and now you're worried about it, donate to some AIDS fighting program. Lesotho, less AIDS. Call it less AIDS. Just do that.
Yes.
And you can fight that if you want to do it. The big problem here, well, I'll add in something else. Oh, God, that's going to send us off on another tangent. Let me add in this first. This thing happened up in Alaska. Now, this one's just more of a clever lie built into these news stories. Okay. EPA canceled the $20 million flood grant for an Alaskan native village as wasteful DEI spending. Months later, floods destroyed homes. So Alaska, some villages going through a tough time. I don't know if you saw it on the news.
That big typhoon.
Typhoon came through, destroyed some stuff. That's sad. I feel bad. My overall position on this is sad.
Yeah. Well, this is climate change fears coming to reality, Nate.
Yeah, they're not going to be having babies.
No.
Yeah, they don't want to do that.
Could you imagine a typhoon coming to Alaska?
It's never happened, I think, in history. I don't think it's ever happened.
It's happened multiple times, actually.
No. How would this native village be there if there had ever been a typhoon?
Yeah.
They would have never been able to take care of it beforehand. They would have all died. They would have never built there in the first place. Another thing says the EPA canceled the $20 million flood protection grant for Alaska's native village, calling it wasteful spending. On Sunday, Kipnuk was devastated by floods that destroyed homes and left residents stranded. Gavin Newsom's press office responded, said Donald Trump will betray you. Just ask the people who voted for him in Alaska. I got to make a small point on this. Point of order. The grant that was canceled was for a 3-year project that was slated to enter the design and planning phase in June of this year. Design and planning. The typhoon would not have given 2 S words whether or not they had drawn up plans or a design for a way to stop this flood when it came, on whatever date it came. Okay? So it still would have happened. Even if they wouldn't have canceled this grant, the same flooding still would have happened. This is not a negotiation against the flood. They wouldn't have been like, oh.
They wouldn't have even been in the planning stage yet. They'd still be trying to figure out the design.
Yeah.
They're just trying to schedule meetings.
It's just trying to do that.
Any type of government program, you can just extend the timeline, like multiply it by 3. You know, if this is a 1-year project, 3 years minimum.
Yeah.
If they were starting in June, they probably would have started the same day the typhoon hit.
So that one's sort of separate from the USAID thing, of course. But just to add, the Biden administration threw that $20 million grant at the end of Biden's term. It was just like, we got to get money out of here. And so that's what they did. And all of these things, you know, before Biden did that, they didn't have this plan for how they were going to pay for that, I guess. But they all become entitlements to people, including when the USAID thing comes up, they become entitlements somehow to people around the world. Like somehow those people are entitled to our money. I mean, people in Alaska got a way bigger claim on that money than people in Lesotho or Myanmar have to that. But still, you're looked at as like a monster when you want to cut back funding. That's what happens. Anytime you send out this funding, and that's why USAID does it the way they do, even though their main job is like to try and coup governments and stuff like that. But they'll do those little things to help people out there. And then when you cut back their budget, here's Mohammed's 2-year-old son who's starving. And so you monster, you cut back our coup budget, and now this kid starved to death.
Yeah.
And it's super annoying.
Because 99.9% is spent on wasteful, all kinds of garbage. And the little bit they sprinkle in, that's the stories they're going to tell.
Yep. That's number 6. Number 7.
Bernie made it back in.
Yeah, we got Bernie and AOC in here just a little bit because I wanted to talk about Obamacare. Now, that's actually would have been really good to connect with these government programs and subsidies and all of that become entitlements to people. And there's nothing so permanent as temporary programs and things like that. But I thought some of the talk on Obamacare deserved its own section. So that was number 6. This is number 7. Bernie's going to lay it out for us how important this fight is. And so we're going to let him speak. Let me see. I think I have that right here. Nope. I promise.
I think it was one in the middle.
That it was originally a time to okay. We're going to skip over Bernie. And first off, I'm going to tell you about government plans, government subsidies, and how over time they become very popular because eventually you have to have them because the subsidies and the plans destroy the market. They make everything more expensive. And then eventually you have to have them. And here's Harry Enten on CNN discussing how the Affordable Care Act was unpopular at the time it was passed. It started to become popular a few years later. And actually by polling, it's extremely popular now. I can play a little bit of this video here, and we'll talk about why.
Back in 2014. Look at that. The Affordable Care Act is way underwater at minus 10 points. By the time of the first Trump term, you got it plus 6 points. Look at where we are now, plus 30 points on the net favorable rating. We're talking about the Affordable Care Act on the net favorable rating being 40 points higher than it was when most of the revisions went into effect the first time around back in 2014, 11 years ago. So the key thing to understand about this entire debate is Democrats want to have this debate now in 2025 as compared to 2014 when the Affordable Care Act was not popular. Now the Affordable Care Act is massively popular.
Who is using this as?
This one actually
only took 10 years.
Yeah. It frustrated me a lot because when we've talked a lot of times about all the stuff that the Affordable Care Act did to make health care unaffordable, and not just health care, health insurance, very unaffordable. And what happens over time with these plans, as they subsidize the payment for these things, they get more and more expensive. And all of a sudden it becomes so expensive that you can't possibly pay for that, at market prices without the government giving you some kind of handout to pay for it. And so it becomes very popular. Like, I can't live without this. And people forget it was unpopular when it was passed because people probably knew what it was going to do. And at that time, they were mandating that you buy insurance, even though you didn't want to. But people at that, it was fresh in your minds. Here's how Obamacare is going to destroy healthcare and health insurance in America. And you were seeing commercials about it, and all your conservative people were talking about it and all that. And they remembered that. And just 10 years goes by, 11 years goes by, and like all it's gone that fast. You forget how terrible it was, to where now this program is plus 30 points in popularity. Everyone wants all these things to be extended. And that's why we never get rid of any of these government programs ever.
Man, we're in such a abusive relationship with the government.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Like this is like expert level manipulation. Mm-hmm. Like imagine, you have a relationship with your wife or your husband, and you set up a scenario, like you deviantly created a scenario where 10 years later that your person is manipulated. You would be, if anybody found out about it, you'd be the worst person on earth. Mm-hmm. Everyone would be calling for you to divorce that person, all kinds of stuff. It would be like, but yet our government does it, and people just, blindly forget that they literally are creating a problem so that they can come up with a solution. And of course, the solution is always going to be more power, more control, more money. And, and then we'll be left with capitalism as the problem.
The cycle sounds a lot like a sex trafficker getting people hooked on like heroin or something like that. Like over time, like, oh, I can't leave. Didn't want to be there in the first place, but what are you going to do now? Got to get my H.
Yeah.
Here's Bernie talking about how terrible the scenario is.
I'm getting a lot of questions lately about, what this government shutdown is about. So let me tell you. Right now, in Vermont and all over this country, insurance companies are sending to their customers the estimates of what their new premiums will be. In Vermont, literally today, people are receiving information that there will be a doubling, or in some cases, a quadrupling, 4 times increase in the health insurance premiums. And this is on top of the fact that 15 million people are being currently thrown off of healthcare if Trump's proposals go through. So that is what this shutdown is about, is whether we allow working class, middle class people to be paying in some.
I want you to imagine, I was doing this last night. I was like, it would take way too long, but imagine he was directing like an orchestra or something, and every time he moved his hands, it was like, just imagine that while you're watching the rest of this.
Some cases in Vermont, around the country, over $50,000 for a family of 4 for health insurance. Who in God's name can afford to pay $50,000 a year for health insurance?
I thought we were going to be saving an average $2,000 for a family of 4.
Yeah.
We were going to be saving, was it $2,500?
$2,500 a year, yeah.
$2,500 a year.
And if you like your doctor, you keep your doctor too.
That was the promise.
Mm-hmm.
But
now, yeah, I mean, you were talking about people getting kicked off of the temporary
what
Obamacare
I don't understand
provisions.
Is he's saying the shutdown is about Trump if his provisions are allowed to go through, which means they haven't gone through yet, but people are receiving these letters now?
Well,
while the current system is still in place, which means that it was all a lie.
Well,
the average family of 4 was not going to save $2,500. In fact, your premiums got much more expensive. Now it seems in the cases of some families of 4 are going to be paying $50,000.
Well, and these are for people because they essentially during COVID, they opened this up for people in the middle class. Like there was an income cap on people. And so I can't remember exactly what the income cap was now. I had all that for last week's episode. I don't remember exactly what it was, but they opened that up for like middle class people, middle class families to be able to get these. And it was capped at a percentage of your income. You wouldn't pay more than this percentage of your income for whatever your health insurance premium was. And that was a temporary COVID-19 provision, expansion of the Obamacare subsidies, because it essentially reduced by 60% the percentage of your income that each one of these brackets would have to pay towards their premiums. And it was temporary. And then it was extended in 2022 in the Inflation Reduction Act. And the Inflation Reduction Act says that this temporary extension expires at the end of 2025. And so this expansion expires at the end of 2025. That's why insurance companies know to send out these letters, because it's been in law since 2022 that expansion is expiring now. And here's what you're going to be paying, because right now you're only supposed to pay 8% of your income, and it's going to go up to 10, or some people are paying 4% of their income and it's going to go up to 8, or whatever the case may be. And so they're telling them, here's what's going to cost, because, they were giving us way more money for subsidies for a little bit. So the prices just went up way faster than they normally would have, like everything else, and now we're coming out of this time and everything's going to be more expensive. Sorry. And here's, let me see, AOC, I kind of jumped the gun here on a little bit of what I just said, but AOC is explaining what the Republicans might cynically do to pull as a trick, and they might expire this for a year.
The end of December, obviously open enrollment starts November 1st. Over in the House, there are 14 House Republicans who have said that they will sign on and they will vote for a one-year extension of the subsidies. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said he thought that proposal was laughable. Do you think that's laughable, or is that something you could get behind?
Yeah, no, let me tell you why it's laughable, because it's cynical. Republicans want to sign on to just a one little extra year of these ACA subsidies. You want to know why? What's happening next year? Midterm elections. They want to extend these subsidies just a year extra so that people don't realize the dupe that they are pulling on everyone, so that they can all reelect themselves and allow those things to expire the moment that they...
When you pull that dupe. I was trying to pull that dupe.
Aren't you the one who passed the law that made it temporary?
Well, it was temporary. It's a new thing. They expanded the subsidies.
Why they only expanded for 2 years?
So in 2022, they set it to expire. Get this cynical trick that they pulled was for them to expire after the presidential election.
Oh, weird.
Of 2024.
Interesting.
They duped. They pulled the dupe on us. They pulled the dupe on everyone. And then they scheduled them to be before next year's midterm elections. Those dupers.
How cynical is that? It's all theater and show, and we're all puppets. And, sometimes we do the show and I'm just like, you know what? What's the point? They're going to be able to convince most people, which is why they're able to run this dog and pony show for the most part. Like, what are we fighting for? How do you join this theater?
We're fighting because we have to. Because if people stop talking about it, it's going to go way further, way faster.
How do you join this theater to actually get the facts out there?
You have to be able to go to bed at night. You got to make sure that you did what you could to inform as many people as possible. That's what we got to do.
I don't disagree with that. But I'm saying sometimes I wake up crying at night.
Were you already crying when you woke up, or did you wake up and then start crying?
Well, and sometimes I scream out your name.
Yeah. What else?
Sometimes.
For Dumb Bleep number 8, we got a little bit of Thomas Massie here, of course. He's rarely the actual dumb bleep. It's other people talking about him. When he does a dumb bleep, we'll talk about it.
I was like,
I think maybe one time you were gone, I did mention something I disagree with him on. I don't remember what it was. Yeah.
All dogs go to heaven or something.
So this is his response to an NBC News piece. The NBC News post says, MIT has become the first school to reject the Trump administration's proposal that offered a select few universities preferential access to federal funds in exchange for agreeing to a set of demands. Now, without knowing at all what the set of demands are, Charlie, would you be in agreement with the federal government offering a private university access to special federal funds if they agree to demands set by the federal government?
No, because I don't believe in the federal funds being there to begin with.
Yeah.
So,
and there's another thing. You got no idea who's going to be in control of that federal government in the future. How those demands might change for access to those federal funds, which they will eventually become addicted to and won't be able to operate without, and then it'll be changing the rules. So Thomas Massie says, the surest way to screw up the world's best technical school is to let feds tell them how to run it. Congrats to my alma mater for turning down a bribe to let the executive branch dictate what happens on its campus. A lot of things are wrong in America, but MIT is not one of them.
It's a humble brag.
Yeah. My alma mater, MIT. So the problem...
Received a double doctorate.
The problem is that some of the demands that the Trump administration was making, of course, are things that a lot of conservatives would agree with, not exactly mandating that the colleges follow, but if you want to get that guy's money that I just took from him under threat of imprisonment, if you want to get that, then you got to make sure you adhere to this list of demands, okay? And we would agree with many of the things. Like,
what other organization operates like that? Do we know of one?
A mafia. Like, I don't know any mafias.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, but yeah, that's
like the mob.
Different organizations like that operate that way. So, in this article, the compact asked 9 schools to agree to a set of conditions such as barring transgender people from using restrooms or playing in sports that align with their gender identities and capping international undergraduate student enrollment. Quote, signatories pledged to select those foreign students on a basis of demonstrably extraordinary talent rather than on the basis of financial advantage to the university, to screen out students who demonstrate hostility to the United States, its allies, or its values, and to provide instruction in American civics to all foreign students. The memo about the compact said, which has led many people to say things like this, like Johnny MAGA said this, Thomas Massie just came out in support of MIT refusing to ban men from women's bathrooms and refusing to restrict foreign students or teach them American civics. You can't make this up. So if you don't want the federal government to give extra money to colleges in exchange for a list of demands, it means that you must be against whatever those demands are themselves, whatever those principles are that make up those demands, you must be against those things.
This goes along with the same type of brain power processing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. This person, Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen Report, says, well, I haven't been tracking this guy's mask off moments, but this seems like a big one.
God, these people are just dumb.
That's in response to American AF saying, breaking, Thomas Massie comes out in support of biological men using women's restrooms.
Jesus Christ. God, they so quickly spin these things.
That's like some of these. I'm sorry. Excuse me, if you'll pardon me. Some of these people I think are dumber than the people that are going to the No Kings protest this weekend. I believe that. They're making dumber arguments about things than those people are. At least as dumb. Come on, at least as dumb. Paul, just goes by Paul, defines women for a living, by the way, says, I wish Massie would just be honest and say he's open borders and doesn't believe the government has a right to tell corporations who they hire. Of course, he can't say that because it becomes unelectable, but that's his real stance.
Well,
he doesn't.
He actually believes that
the government has a right to tell corporations who they hire. Okay. Let's get to, so that really is the end of it for Don't Bleep. The other one starts to concern Israel and AIPAC. It really should be for number 9. Starts off with a little bit of Thomas Massie, but not really. Concerns something else. There was a moment when Trump was in Israel doing the peace deal. Peace in the Middle East, as you know, was achieved this week. A glorious peace in the Middle East was achieved this week. And there was an awkward moment where Miriam Adelson, who is a dual citizen billionaire, asked, basically told this story about how he had asked her whether or not she loved the United States or Israel more in a room full of people. And in some ways, I almost think it was a little bit of a jab towards Miriam.
A little tongue in cheek.
Yeah, I just feel like it was a little bit like everyone knows this is not good. And by the way, Miriam Adelson is one of the people putting a bunch of money into the campaign against Thomas Massie in Kentucky, who's been against
AIPAC.
Foreign aid for Israel, doesn't take AIPAC money, stuff like that. And so when you consider like that context of the people that are funding the actual campaign against Thomas Massie in Kentucky, it's interesting. But the clip itself stands on its own without Thomas Massie being involved in it at all. And here's this clip.
Promising, I never understood it until I got there. There was a lot of pressure put on these presidents. It was put on me too, but I didn't yield to the pressure. But every president for decades said, we're going to do it. The difference is I kept my promise and officially recognized the capital of Israel and moved the American embassy to Jerusalem. Isn't that right, Miriam? Look at Miriam. She's back there. Stand up, Miriam. Stand up. Miriam and Sheldon would come into the office. They'd call me. He'd call me. I think they had more trips to the White House than anybody else I could think of. Look at her sitting there so innocently. She's got $60 billion in the bank, $60 billion. And I think she's saying no more. And she loves Israel, but she loves it, and they would come in, and her husband was a very aggressive man, but I loved him. He was a very aggressive, very supportive of me. And he'd call up, can I come over and see you? I say, Sheldon, I'm the president of the United States. It doesn't work that way. He'd come in, and we'd do. But they were very responsible for so much, including getting me thinking about Golan Heights, which is probably one of the greatest things to ever happen to Israel. Miriam, stand up, please. She really is. I mean, she loves this country. She loves this country. Her and her husband are so incredible. We miss him so dearly. But I actually asked her, I'm going to get her in trouble with this, but I actually asked her once, I said, so Miriam, I know you love Israel. What do you love more, the United States or Israel? She refused to answer. That might mean Israel, I must say. We love you. Thank you, darling, for being here. That's a great honor. Great honor.
In some ways, everyone's talked about how gross this is and how our politics actually works. And it's like, the president of the United States can't just come in here. That what he didn't say was like, money. You got to pay me for that kind of access, And
but he also kind of alluded to it and then called it out in the open almost.
That's what I'm going to say. I agree with everyone I've heard, like the Dave Smiths and all the people who have talked about just how gross this is. I also say I respect the openness. It reminds me, as I've mentioned several times recently, the Dave Chappelle Trump's an honest liar thing where he tells a story about how in the debate.
What a great clip.
He was like, yeah, I took advantage of all those tax loopholes, you know.
Of course I did.
So did all your friends, your donors, you know. You could change it if you wanted to. You could have changed it if you wanted to, but you're not going to because all your friends changed. And so when it comes to something like, yeah, this person gave me $100 million for the this recent election.
This is so funny that goes back to your interview with Scott Horton.
Oh, yeah. He talked about...
Where he literally talked about...
Miriam Sheldon Adelson, yeah.
Yeah. Him being bought, you know, being an Israel shill.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's so interesting.
Yeah.
It's so interesting how the world works, man.
And then I wanted to add
Trump a billionaire himself, but he doesn't have 60 billion. You know, he's only got like 8. 60 is a lot more than 8 when you're in the billions.
A lot more,
realm.
I wanted to add in, and these things are not super related, except for that has to do with Israel. This is a video during the festivities of the U.S. ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, playing in a band. He plays bass, playing a nice Rickenbacker, looks like.
Slap at the bass, man.
Yeah. So he's slapping the bass big time, and then they're doing Sweet Home Alabama. They change the lyrics, and the whole thing is just as cringy as you might think is about to happen. And they're doing, I don't know. I'm just gonna play it. I'll just play it. I'm sorry to everyone.
Keep on turning. Just 2 days and we are through. Then we start from the beginning. Hashem's holy words begin anew. We all have come to help Hatzalah, and we want to help it thrive. Based right here in God's holy city. Throughout this land, it's saving lives. Sweet home Yerushalayim. Yeah.
All right, that's enough. We don't have to do anymore.
What?
We don't have to do anymore.
What is this?
It doesn't matter.
Is this real? This is AI.
That's a real thing.
No,
it's
this
a real
is
thing
AI.
that happened. Yeah, no, it's a real thing. So
what?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it is.
I need to know what's happening.
No, you don't. That's what's happening.
Never mind. The guitar was out of tune.
Oh God,
there was
either Mike Huckabee was way out of tune, or the entire rest of the other band was out of tune. But
I think they all were out of tune.
Yeah, the whole thing
with themselves.
Yeah.
The
whole thing was pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. At least they got a great singer over the top of it.
I should have sang like that. I wouldn't have lost my voice all the time, you know.
What did he say? Sweet home.
Don't try
chimichanga.
I think that's what he said. Okay, this one.
You know they rehearsed that. By the way,
they practiced.
You know,
and they practiced. That's not their first time. No, they prepped.
During rehearsal, no one was like,
You guys think
maybe we should?
Should we get Lee Greenwood?
Yeah. You know, it does kind of remind me
an Israeli man.
Nate and I used to talk about this when we were younger, when we first were playing music, and even when we weren't very good. We knew that though. We were like, we're not very good. We weren't ready. But then we got good. And I remember us playing shows with people who sounded like this. I'm not going to name any names. And Nate and I would have the same conversation we're having now, which is like, do they like listen to their practice? Like, do they listen to rehearsal? And they're like, good enough.
Yeah, they do.
Let's do it live.
It's fun. There's different people, different stages of their careers. Charlie, we don't have to dog on them for that.
Mike Huckabee's like 80.
I don't know why you're so gosh darn anti-Semitic all the time. Gosh. Why do you love Hamas?
Is this the kind of music that was playing at the festival? Oh,
God. Move on. Dumbling number 10. Number 10, we got to go. You said an hour and a half, and here we are. It's yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got to call it too.
Yeah, Shoot. It's been a bit. Okay, this one's called Foreign Policy / Military Industrial Complex. The first story actually became dumber and dumber as as I looked up more and more information on this. It seemed like something that wasn't like it's stupid. It didn't seem like it was as stupid as it's going to end up being, by the way. I saw this as a post from Scott Horton. And the news here is that they're ordering about 20 brand new B-2 bombers. The actual number is 28 new B-2 bombers. Those are the stealth bombers like what they use to bomb Iran. Okay, just for a little bit of context there. And Scott Horton says USA was suffering from a major deficiency in hydrogen bomb delivery systems. And he says, nah, they're just effing you. And here's a clip of Trump announcing this.
And we just ordered about 20 brand new B-2 bombers. It's unbelievable as a weapon. I know Putin, when I was riding with him in Alaska, we passed a lot of them. And he said, that really did the trick. I said, yeah, it did. It's amazing. The flying wing.
What trick did he do? It didn't stop the war or anything. That did the trick. I started bombing Ukraine harder after that. Well, whatever. So the news story here for this part of foreign policy / military industrial complex is that we're going to order about 20 brand new B-2 bombers. The number is 28. That sounds more like about 30, but whatever. The U.S. is going to do. We have 19 right now. There were 20. One of them had some bad repairs that were too expensive to fix. And so they just said, instead of fixing this one, let's go ahead and order an even 28 more of them. So the U.S.
This one's too expensive to fix. Let's order another one plus 27.
You got that old junker you don't want to keep throwing money into. And so you buy 28 more cars.
Yeah, exactly.
We've all done it.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so on October 13th, Donald Trump told Israeli lawmakers that the U.S. plans to double its B-2 stealth bomber fleet by adding 28 new aircraft. He said the decision followed the long-range operation against Iranian nuclear sites in June, which he described as proof of the bomber's endurance and reach. We used one, I think, during one of them.
Drew has a good question here. He says, what happened to the new B-21 that was replacing the B-2?
But wait, there's more. Don't worry. Good. I told you this. It gets dumber than you think.
Okay.
The story's dumber than you think. No, we're ordering 28 more B-2 bombers, a plane that has been around, I believe, since the
60s?
The early 80s. Well, they were, I believe, in the 70s when they were working on it. The 80s, I believe they had a prototype operational capability in 1997. Right here. So it's been around for a while. Let's just say 30 to 40 years this plane has been in existence. And, like 30 years or so it's been being used. And over that time, I think we started with 21 of them. There were supposed to be like 100 of them or whatever, and they're just too expensive. So we had, I think, 21. One of them broke down, and we lost the other one in that movie Broken Arrow with John Travolta and Christian Slater. I don't know if you saw that. That's where the other one went down. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the context of the announcement indicates that the statement may align with ongoing efforts to keep the fleet of B-2 bombers operational until the B-21 Raider achieves full operational capability later in this decade. By 2030. Okay. So
we need new ones.
Want to make sure listen.
How long do they take to build?
Hold on. I want to make sure that we explain how dumb this is. In the 80s, we started making these B-2 bombers. There were 21 of them originally, I think. One of them broke down. I don't know what happened to the other one. Maybe it crashed. Whatever. We got 19 of them now. We've had since the 80s, 90s. Okay, 19 of them. In 2030, the B-2 bomber was supposed to be retired. So we can have these B-21 bombers come in.
The Raiders.
We are planning to procure at least 100 B-21 bombers.
Oh, so they're going to get that 100 mark they were looking for with the B-2s.
With the possibility of increasing the number to 200. Now, this whole time, we've had 20 B-2 bombers. 20 of them. And they're supposed to be retired by 2030. Right now, in 2025, year of our Lord 2025, 5 years before they're supposed to be retired, we're going to order 28 more of the B-2 bombers while we were about to procure 100 B-21 bombers that are supposed to replace the B-2 bomber.
Makes total sense. I follow that like wide on a cracker, man.
And what in God's name would we ever need 100 or 200 B-21 bombers for?
You don't know how dangerous Putin is, clearly.
God bless.
Nate, are you just not paying attention?
All right.
You know what Maduro's doing down in Venezuela? Sending boats full of cocaine, yeah?
Meade said, do they even know how to build the B-2s? No, it's going to be like that movie Space Cowboys where they have to go get the old guys that knew how to work on that old satellite, to work on it. They got to go get these old guys out of retirement to be able to even build these things. It's going to take them 15 years to build these B-2 bombers, just so everyone knows.
What's funny is they're doing that now with all the cobalt things that are still in place. They're having to go find the old programmers just to try to like revamp systems. That's the problem Doge is running into. Guaranteed. Even Obama's lackeys had trouble with all that. In fact, I know a guy who's hired a bunch of different cobalt folks who's got some government contracts. It's very interesting.
Okay.
But that's the funny thing. So by 2040, they're going to have these B-2s ready.
Retire them immediately.
Oh, okay.
Guys, I want to stress that the 19 B-2 bombers we have right now are plenty capable of getting us until the day that we have the B-21 bombers.
No.
Plenty capable.
You clearly don't know what China's planning.
Like, we have to invent ways to use these things. Yeah. We've got to violate the Constitution in order to use these things in the first place.
Did you see China's new 27,000 foot tall bridge?
I saw that bridge, yeah.
Yeah. How many B-2s do you think it's going to take? B-21? It's going to take 50 B-21s to take that bridge out.
At least, yeah.
At least. That thing is so massive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it takes a whole day to cross going 60 miles an hour.
Yeah. Okay. We're still on foreign policy. We have the rest of this one, 11 and 12 left to do.
We got 15
You're the
minutes.
one that's got a call.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. I'm going to keep going here. I'm not even going to play the video. Eric Trump's talking about how he says every time a boat goes out in Venezuela, it's getting blown up into 1 million pieces. That's exactly what's happening every single day. By the way, I think it's a bad policy. Don't agree with that at all. It says, I personally have 4 friends who have lost children to fentanyl. This is a very important thing. And I just want to remind everyone, the most annoying part to me, actually, well, there's a lot of annoying parts. Why lie about the fentanyl thing? It's because you got to try and build up a reason to tell the American people they're going to do something.
Yeah.
But that part really bothers me because people will defend this and they'll defend it and they'll talk about the overdoses and the fentanyl and stuff like that. And like I ask it, I know Grok is not a great, perfect research tool. It's like, what percentage of fentanyl illegally in the U.S. comes from Venezuela? Is statistically 0% comes from Venezuela. We talked about this before. It comes from Mexico. Chemicals produced in China. That's where the fentanyl comes from. There could be a tiny amount, but it would mostly be drugs that they would come into the U.S. and then people would put fentanyl in them after they're even in the U.S. That Venezuela is not the source of the fentanyl problem.
Venezuela is like cocaine.
Yeah.
It's their main source.
Cocaine is what they call it, yeah.
Yeah. Cocaine. Venezuela, Colombia.
New information came out this week.
Even.
The Trump administration has authorized covert CIA action in Venezuela. Trump administration...
It's not covert anymore.
I highlighted. The Trump administration has secretly authorized the CIA to conduct covert action in Venezuela, according to U.S. officials, stepping up a campaign against Nicolas Maduro, the country's authoritarian leader. The authorization is the latest step in the Trump administration's intensifying pressure campaign against Venezuela. And we know about them targeting boats. I think they've blown up 5 boats right now. I think that's what's happened. That's the current number. Trump acknowledged on Wednesday that he had authorized covert action and said the United States was considering strikes on Venezuelan territory. Quote, he said, we are certainly looking at land now because we got the sea very well under control. Any strikes on Venezuelan territory would be a significant escalation. We all know that. So that is continuing to ramp up.
What does Venezuela have that might be important to the United States?
It's fentanyl. It's about fentanyl. Why?
Oil.
Oil.
Yeah.
Oil. Yeah, it could be oil. I don't know if they got, it could be a problem. Or just, I'm not exactly sure what it is. Like, is it the oil? I don't, maybe that's
it's the oil.
That's an early 2000s thing. There could be some other it's not the fentanyl. Just so everyone knows, the fentanyl part is a lie.
What else would it be?
Okay. And if you wanted to stop the drugs from coming into the U.S., just like protect our own border, which, by the way, they have sealed off a ton of our border. All right. Like you could stop the stuff from coming in physically. You don't have to roll up the army, the whole Navy outside of Venezuela.
We should be allowed to do this, though, because Venezuela sent all their prisoners to us.
They sent prisoners, yeah. That's the thing. This ominous Fox News clip was ominous. And so we're going to play this.
By the way, they do the video version of X's, breaking.
Alert.
Every 5 minutes,
Maybe that's
there's
where
a Fox
everyone
News
learned.
alert.
Maybe that's where they all learned it.
Yeah.
Alert.
Fox News alert, B-52 bombers are flying off the coast of Venezuela. Trump's not bluffing. Right now, more than 10,000 U.S. soldiers are built up in the Caribbean, on ships in Puerto Rico, locked and loaded. Special operations helicopters were just seen flying 90 miles from Venezuela's coast. The chopper units used by Delta Force, Navy SEALs, and the Green Berets. The Black Ops were spotted off the coast of Trinidad. They're very important for search and rescue missions. Also spotted little birds. They're smaller but faster, designed for quick insertion of special operators behind enemy lines. The Ghost was also confirmed to be in the Caribbean. That's the nickname for MV Ocean Trader. It's the kind of ship that doesn't want to be found. It's designed for black ops and special missions because it's dark and blends in with cargo. There's more. 10% of the U.S. naval power is now in the region. It's a major shift. There's subs, several destroyers, and F-35 fighters in Puerto Rico. That's on top of all the coke boats getting smoked to pieces by the week. Kilos of cocaine are washing ashore.
I bet when he wrote that, he was like, that's good.
Coke boats.
Dozens of bad hombres becoming shark bait. It's got Maduro's attention. He's the dictator of the narco state, a very bad hombre. And we just doubled the bounty on his head. It's now 50 mil. According to the New York Times, Maduro offered us a dominant stake in Venezuela's oil, gold, and mineral wealth and promised to cut ties with Russia and China. And Trump and Rubio said no. That tells me the gunboat diplomacy is going to end up with no Maduro and a Venezuela aligned with us, not Putin or Xi. American action in Latin America hasn't always ended well. Look at the Bay of Pigs. Other times, it's a piece of cake. It's our backyard. And Trump's just reestablishing the Monroe Doctrine, a.k.a. the Donroe Doctrine. Hopefully, a Venezuelan general does the right thing and collects the $50 million bounty. No one wants a messy conflict in South America. Maduro controls drug traffickers who are pretty strapped. They have military-grade weapons. And Biden let hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans into...
All right, that's enough. I just want to go over all the military buildup stuff. It's just... I don't know, man. There's
Coke boats smoke.
Coke boats. Got to worry about those Coke boats. All right, Ketanji Brown Jackson. She's number 11. Let's get to that real quick, and I don't think we'll have time for number 12. I added that at the last minute anyway. So they're having a Supreme Court arguments right now over the Voting Rights Act, and they're talking about redistricting, whether or not you can apportion the districts based on race.
This is a Louisiana case, isn't it?
Yeah, whether or not you got to have these majority-minority districts in order to protect the rights of black people and stuff like that. Something I think they're probably going to...
So we're about to hear from one of the smartest black women in America.
Well, what you'll notice here, beyond everything else, is the amount of brain processing power is not even on the chart at all. You can't even see it.
It's so powerful.
Because it's gone so far off of it. You thought it didn't even register, I bet. You racist, bigot, or something. Fascist.
I just want people to hear one of the smartest black women.
Well, that's why we want to play
in her own words.
Yeah, let's just listen.
I guess I'm thinking of it, of the fact that remedial action, absent discriminatory intent, is really not a new idea in the civil rights laws. And my kind of paradigmatic example of this is something like the ADA. Congress passed the Americans with Disabilities Act against the backdrop of a world that was generally not accessible to people with disabilities. And so it was discriminatory in effect because these folks were not able to access these buildings. And it didn't matter whether the person who built the building or the person who owned the building intended for them to be exclusionary. That's irrelevant. Congress said the facilities have to be made equally open to people with disabilities if readily possible. I guess I don't understand why that's not what's happening here. The idea in Section 2 is that we are responding to current day manifestations of past and present decisions that disadvantage minorities and make it so that they don't have equal access to the voting system, right? They're disabled. In fact, we use the word disable in Milligan. We say that's a way in which you see that these processes are not equally open.
They're disabled.
Well, I just want to be nice if any of our disabled Black listeners need us to explain that. We can off the air, but we've only got a couple minutes, and so we got to go. But
we're here for you.
Yeah, we are here for you, and I'll explain to you what that means too, if you want me to let you know. Yeah, that was retarded. That's the word I have. It's a terrible analogy or terrible comparison. But we only have a few minutes and we got to do the voting. So, man, what did we spend so much time on?
Short bathroom break.
We did spend time on a short bathroom break. Yeah, we do. We know that.
So you're just going to let her own words. We don't even need to add comment.
No.
Just let her words speak for them. There's no way for me to mansplain anyway or whitesplain.
No.
Because I wouldn't. How could I possibly even understand?
No, you can't.
Yeah.
It's too handicapped.
Mm-hmm. I only got a 28 on my ACT.
Yeah. Is that good? I don't remember what a good score is.
Didn't go.
You got 28?
Yeah, and I didn't go to Harvard. So
you didn't.
I
wouldn't let you in because you were white.
Yeah. True.
It's a problem. Okay, number one was dumb stuff Kamala said. Number two was Obama / No Kings. Number three, lefties on TV. That was Don Lemon, and then that other gray beardy white guy on The View. Number four, Ayanna Pressley with the stolen land. Number five, Swastika Gate. Number six, USAID and entitlement. Number seven, Obamacare, AOC, Bernie. Number eight, Massie, MIT. Number nine, Miriam and Huckabee, just random, as you got to have one for Israel, you know. Number 10, foreign policy / military industrial complex. Number 11, Ketanji Brown Jackson. And number 12, we didn't do. But you would have loved it. It would have been your favorite one.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah, it was really good. I added it in there because I was like, oh, Charlie is going to go off. And once I realized you wouldn't have time to go off, I realized it just wouldn't be as good, you know.
Maybe we can cover it on next week.
That's what she said.
It'll probably be relevant next week, right?
Oh, yeah. It's evergreen content.
Okay, good.
We could do that as long as we want.
All right, get your votes in. While you're voting, I'm going to tell you to go to joingml.com, be part of the Fed Haters Club, so you can get your vote in too. That's joingml.com. Got some new signups recently, so welcome all to the new folks that are part of the Fed Haters Club. It is the nicest, most kind and generous hate group I've ever been a part of.
That's a fact.
Yeah, Fed Haters Club.
A lot of people have said that.
Joingml.com. That's where you can express yourself freely, openly. We believe in the ideas of freedom of speech, and that's the only place you can really do it now.
Yes.
JoinGML.com. Visit the links in the show notes to support the sponsors that support this show. If there are any left, you'll see them in there. And follow us on socials, because as we lose sponsorships, we probably need some more people to follow us on social media so we can get canceled there too.
Yeah.
And you can do that. Just search Good Morning Liberty basically anywhere. We are available So
the winner is dumb bleep number 2, Obama /
it's
No
pretty
Kings.
spread out, though.
Yeah, very spread. There was a lot of dumb things. Many things were dumb in their own ways, very dumb.
But that was the dumbest.
But that has been determined by a tyrannical Democratic vote to be the dumbest thing.
All right, y'all. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Do all the things I said or don't. I don't really care, but Nate certainly does. He is very passionate and cares deeply. So do it for him and for your country. Until then, we'll be back again on Monday. Until then, I hope you have a good day and a good weekend and a good morning, Liberty.